should actually have space to think about the things that we don't usually come. Like the other three themes, they came to me quite naturally and very quickly. But then there was this fourth time where I felt like I can't quite come up with a theme I really want to talk about. And then I thought it's probably a good idea to have more an open space, also to look at what we usually do not talk about, and which could be anything. It could be individual stuff like how you deal personally with difficulties in dance. It can be political issues, it can be financial issues, just anything around dance as a practice. The term blind spot I actually researched, and you probably all know that. It's a place in the back of a retina of the eye where the optic nerve connects the brain part with the eye part, like in the back of the eyeball. And in that area there are no sensors for vision. Yeah? So this is called the blind spot. I find it very interesting and intriguing that actually the point where the nerve goes through doesn't have sensors. So this is the part where it's blind, but it actually is what enables us to see to a brain. So it's like a price we pay. The reason we do not see a blind spot in usual life is that we construct the picture around a blind spot. Meaning if you look at all blue, our brain just assumes that this spot that we don't see is also blue, which not necessarily needs to be true.
And I was thinking that when you're off balance, teachers talked about a lot. You cannot, at a certain moment, you're definitely not in control. But you're going to go back to control, everything is okay. But do I allow this little moment physically in the body to happen that I don't know anything, like falling from my own axis into a certain place where I feel safe again, but there's a moment where I'm not safe, a blind spot. It was clear with this paper, and I search it in the dance a lot. This to allow this moment that I don't know anything for a second when I'm falling.
I mean, I have this experience, I guess you do, that you think you know something, and then you realize you don't fully know something. So I think like we as people try to integrate our experience and have a whole picture of something, and then we suddenly realize it's something we missed. So what came to me in my automatic writing was, often I need other people to point out that blind spot for me. A question is, how can you be aware of what you're not aware of? It's kind of tricky. And the other thing would then be a blind spot is a place where there's something to learn. So in that way, it's positive. You know? It's like, oh, there's something more to learn. So that's what came up for me. And then in terms of, I kind of was thinking about it in my teaching practice. A big shift for me in my own practice as a dancer, dance teacher, and human being was realizing that I'm never going to get it right. And I feel like there's a stage where I was trying to get something, and in that moment where I think that I've got it, that's the closing. And what I realized is an infinite number of things to learn.
And I have the same when comes this guy, you go to performance, you see that thing, and say, and this guy makes out of a fucking telephone, he starts to make a whole piece, and I say, what a bastard! How did I not get that point? You know, it's such a common thing. You have it in your hands. You are every day with that thing, and you didn't get it. And he does it. He's like, shit. So it's that thing that is around you. It's here, like you say. You look at that thing, and there is the blind spot.
We have a common interest to talk about what is not so graspable or not so understandable. The tools that got you there are not necessarily the tools that can get you out of where you are or understand more, but that physicality and the occupations that we have is our tool to understand what's underneath, what's not so perceivable in the first moment. And that is a really potent thing for me to explore, talk about, that we are in a form that is actually the entry point to all that is not so easily to understand or pin down or give forward. And that came out when I was writing. There were all these images and things that are physical and of not such linear nature. And it feels like mind and understanding is still perceived as this linear thing. And
when I come here, my blind spots present themselves, and I feel like each time I try to strive and struggle to find what I'm missing, I miss them anyways. Or I almost create more blind spots because I'm trying to find something, and so it's in the kind of just being present or relaxing into what I'm experiencing. Then I'm either shown by somebody else or by myself. This is what I've been missing.
That frustration or dissatisfaction is part of taking the next step. And when I was injured, or that used to be my biggest learning, catapulting me to the next level. And for me, I get the sense that the comfort of being in the pattern, and when there's a physical dissatisfaction, it's more physical, and I can't ignore it anymore, and then I have to learn. And somehow learning, I want to believe, or in my teaching, that ease is the way to go, and ease is one way to go. But it feels like frustration is also another. And I don't know that it has anything to do with blind spots, but as we're talking about learning, it's not all so beautiful. Just open your perception and you will go. Just wish it takes effort and frustration too.
And so seeing people's blind spots and their physicality is also very beautiful because it's expressing an authenticity. They're not being fake in their blind spots. They can't fake that. So you can see someone in the way that they're working physically, and that's an expression of who they are. I think very clearly, rather than what they present to you as who they are. So I see that in very subtly in yoga, that there's beauty in that kind of what we may think as maybe dancers the negativity of a blind spot. There's also beauty in that authenticity of it as well.